Hey, how's it going, everybody? Tim here, the Frugal Travel Guru, back with another video. And in today's video, I wanted to talk about 10 tips for your first Amtrak train trip. Now, anyone who follows this channel knows that the train is my preferred method of travel. Yes, I love flying, hashtag I only fly Delta, but if the prices are about the same and the train and the plane are both going to the location I need to get to, I will pick the train every time. And there are a number of reasons why I love the train. Probably break those down in another video. But in today's video, I wanted to come up with and share 10 tips for people who may have never ridden the train before or who are thinking about riding the train. And these tips should help you to not only get the best price of your ticket, but also to enjoy, have the most enjoyable trip possible. So let's jump right into these tips. The first tip is the same tip I give on every form of transportation, and that is to book your ticket early. These transportation companies, and Amtrak is no different, they want to get these tickets sold as quickly as possible so they can kind of see the numbers they're going to have on each route, each day, on each schedule. So they offer incentives if you book early. Right on the Amtrak website, on like the front page, it says book early, save 25%. So you can get some really good savings if you book your ticket, your train ticket early. So I highly recommend, as soon as you know you're going to take a trip, hop on Amtrak, find your ticket. Now, full disclosure, I will say you can also get some pretty good discounts if you book late. Like if you book like the day before the schedule is about to leave, the train's going to leave, sometimes you can get some really good discounts just because they're trying to sell out the extra tickets they have. But why risk it? You can kind of get the same discount if you book early. I always book early and I get great savings. So that's my number one tip. Number two tip is to join the Amtrak Guest Rewards program. Now, this is another tip I say when it comes to travel, whatever you do, whether it's a transportation method, or it's hotels, or it's the restaurant you eat at, or whatever it is, if there's a rewards program, sign up for it. Even if you don't think you're going to use that particular company ever again, why not have it? I sign up for every rewards program I come across, and they're all free to join. And you never know. Like some of the rewards programs I've signed up for, I thought I would never use the points, and then one day I just got an email. It was like, you've accrued enough points to get, a half off a trip or something like that. So Amtrak Guest Rewards is no different. They got some pretty cool incentives. If you get so many points, hop on their website and just look for it. You could find that out. But I highly recommend joining that program. Now, tip number 3. When you are on Amtrak.com or on the mobile app, which I highly recommend downloading to your phone, there will be different seating options. There's like economy, there's business class, there's different sleeper seats or sleeper, forget what they call them, but different options. Don't always think that like the economy is going to be cheaper. A lot of times it's cheaper, but sometimes the next level up will be close. For instance, not this trip, but my last trip, I rode in business class for most of the trip because I think economy was like $139 and business was like $210 or something. Actually, it might have been even closer than that. But basically, the business class was, for what you get in business class, it was worth the extra maybe $30 it might have been. So look around. Sometimes even too, depending on when you look, they'll have like the sleeper cars will be fairly close in price. And if you can get a sleeper car for $100 or a couple $100 more than just like a coach economy seat or whatever, go for that. So don't just jump on there and look right at the reserve coach seats and say, oh, that's cheapest, I'm gonna go for it. Look around. Also, there will be a lot of times where you want to go, different schedules, different routes. Sometimes the tickets are cheaper on different routes and they may not be that much longer. So play around when you get on there and just get the best deal for the money. Sometimes it may be a little extra money, but trust me, it's worth it. So moving on. Tip number 4 is to know your luggage limits. I see people all the time who don't check in ahead when it comes to luggage, and they have problems. This happens on the bus, planes, everywhere. Amtrak actually has some pretty lenient luggage limits, probably some of the best I've seen. You're allowed 2 personal items and 2 carry-ons on the train. So that's like 4 items you can bring with you. Personal is kind of like a purse, a laptop bag, things like that. Your carry-on is, you can get on the website and see the actual dimensions, but it's your average carry-on size suitcase. I will say though, I've never seen, the attendant stop anyone getting on with a carry-on bag and be like, that's too big. I've seen some people get on with some carry-on bags that probably should have been checked, but it wasn't a problem. I don't think they're, very, you could probably get on with 4 carry-on size bags and they would count that as your 2 personal, 2 carry-on. It's not really a big deal on the Amtrak train. Now, I will say that there is a compartment over your head for your carry-on bags, but also mainly most of the suitcases go in a compartment right when you get on the train. Down by the bathrooms, there's just a open compartment, and that's where people put their suitcases. Keep in mind that anyone getting on or off the train can see your bags right there. I recommend luggage locks, and also don't have any valuables like in plain sight, because just don't make it tempting. I've never had any issues with my carry-on bags on Amtrak, but just, you never know who's getting on the train. Even though you do get a good class of people riding the train, I found, you don't want to tempt anybody. And plus too, since that's downstairs, most of your trip you're not going to be able to see your carry-on bag. So for me, every couple of hours I go down there and check, use the bathroom, make sure my bag's still there, but just don't tempt people with expensive items in your carry-on bags in plain sight. Now, when it comes to check bags, which is crazy, you're allowed 4 check bags as well as 2 additional check bags for $20 a piece. So you could have up to 6 checked bags on the Amtrak train. You could move cross country on the Amtrak if you needed to, that kind of bags, and then your carry-ons as well. So you can bring a ton of luggage on the Amtrak train. Now, I will say, if you're planning on having checked bags, you might want to call the station you're leaving from ahead of time. I've never had a checked bag on the Amtrak train, but I read somewhere that certain routes don't have the checked bag cars, or certain stations don't have the checked bag check-in. I'm not sure. If you're leaving from a major station, maybe not a problem, but I would call ahead just to make sure that your checked bags are okay. Moving on. Tip number 5, get to the station early. This should be a no-brainer, but I always see people getting to the station late, running for the train. Get to the station 45 minutes to an hour early. Find out where your train is going to be leaving from. If you got bags to check, get them checked in. Me personally, I always go to the ticket counter and get a paper ticket printed out, even though you can use your phone. There's e-tickets already in your phone when they send you, your confirmation or whatever. I always get a paper ticket printed out just so that if something happens to my phone, I have a backup. Also, too, when the conductor comes around to scan tickets, I don't always want to have to hand him my phone, So a lot of times I'll get a paper ticket printed out, and while I'm up there, I just verify that the train's on time. Everything's good to go. So get to the station early, get everything taken care of, relax, take a poop, do whatever you got to do. Don't be rushing for the train. This happens all the time, and it's really not, it's pointless, people. Get there early. Okay, tip number 6, this is an important one. Bring a jacket with you. It can get a little chilly on the train. Most forms of transportation, I've noticed, they keep it a little chilly. I guess just to keep down the germs, or I don't know why they do it. No different on the train, so definitely bring some kind of jacket. I also recommend bringing a blanket or jacket, or both, either or, and like some type of pillow if you need that. I never bring a pillow. Sometimes my jacket subs as my pillow, but definitely if you're the type of person who gets cold easily, jacket, coat, blanket works great for getting to sleep. And the seating on Amtrak are some of the biggest in the business, so you can definitely grab a blanket, curl up, throw a pillow up beside you. You can, if you bring all that, you can use all that. Especially if there's no one in the seat next to you, there's enough room to comfortably curl up in the 2 seats and go to it. So just remember, we'll be a little chilly. Bring something so that you're not freezing your whole trip. Moving on. Tip number 7: bring some food. Most Amtrak trains, which is one of the things I really love about them, a lot of them have a dining car, so you can actually go in and eat a meal, and most of them have a cafe car as well. So if you don't want to go in and be all fancy and sit down and eat a meal, You can go to the cafe car, which is typically downstairs from the dining car or the observation car, and you can get like beer, and coffee, and soda, and snacks, but it is highly overpriced. I love Amtrak, but it's highly overpriced. Like, I never go in the dining car because the meals would be way too expensive. Last time I was on the train, I got a cheeseburger and a beer, and it was $14.50. Like one IPA and a cheeseburger, a microwave heat up cheeseburger, and it was $14.50. So if you're gonna be riding the train, bring your own snacks, unless you just want to ball out. You know, I was traveling. We was going through. You know, I was going from Montana to Washington. I was enjoying the scenery. I was in a good mood. I had just finished up a job, so you know, I was swiping the plastic. Whatever, $14.50, whatever. You know, let's go. But if you don't want to ball out like that and regret it later, like I did, just bring your own food. And you're definitely allowed to bring your own food and drinks, non-alcoholic drinks, on the train. Eat them as you want. Also, too, the dining car closes. The cafe car closes at night. Sometimes you might want a little snack at 2 in the morning. So bring some food with you to eat. Moving on, tip number 8. Pay attention at the stops. Like I said, it's super easy to curl up, go to sleep while you're on the train. The car attendants will come through typically and tell you what stops are coming up, when your stop's coming up. But sometimes they're busy. You know, you don't want to fall asleep, miss your stop. So kind of pay attention. A lot of times, you know, if you haven't ridden the train a lot, you don't know kind of what stops are leading up to your stop. Sometimes the conductor will say, hey, especially the bigger cities, they'll say, hey, we're 3 stops from so-and-so. We're at, Podunk, Idaho. We'll be in, Des Moines, and 3 more stops. You can kind of, keep ahead. But, just keep in mind, the train at some of these stops rather quickly, and it's on its way in like 5 minutes. So if you're going to be napped out, be alert that your stop might be coming up soon. Tip number 9, take advantage of the observation car. Pretty much every train has a car that is just set up for you to go in and sit and hang out. This is one of the reasons I love the train. It is like one of the only forms of transportation where you can get up out of your seat for a long period of time and hang out somewhere else. You can't really do it on the plane. You definitely can't do it on the bus. The train you can. So take advantage of that car. A lot of times, if you have someone sitting next to you who you don't know, you can go and sit in the observation car and be by yourself, plug your phone in, charge it. You can sit in there the whole trip if you want to. And there's windows, you can look out of it. Usually it's close to the cafe car. You run downstairs, get you some overpriced food, come back up, eat it, or bring your food in there, eat it. A lot of times people bring like board games in there and they play. So me, my first trip, I didn't know anything really about this. So it was like halfway through the trip before I realized I could have been sitting in there chilling instead of like in the seat next to this guy that I really didn't want to be sitting next to. So definitely take advantage of the observation car. It's a game changer. Game change. And finally, tip number 10, bring something to entertain yourself. I know we all got our phones on us, but sometimes, depending on where you're traveling through the country, the cell service will go out on your phone. Also, you got to think about it. You're traveling through tunnels a lot of time on the train. A lot of times you won't have cell service. There is Wi-Fi offered on some trains. I've never gotten it to work. Could just be me. I really don't try anymore. So, if you got your laptop and got some movies on there, maybe some music downloaded to your phone, go old school, bring a book, bring a board game like I mentioned, Sudoku. I don't know what you do. Whatever you can do for fun legally on the train, bring that with you, because if you're on a long trip, it can, even though the train is cool, it can get monotonous. Just hearing that do-doom, do-doom, do-doom for hours and hours and hours, you're just sitting there looking out the window. It can get monotonous if you don't have something fun to do to entertain yourself. So bring some entertainment and pass the time. Also, the train to me is one of the best places to meet and talk to people as well. I think because it is a lot more laid back. Hop in the observation car, meet somebody, talk to them, drink a couple of beer together or whatever. But just stay entertained so the trip doesn't get boring. So those are my 10 tips for your first Amtrak train trip. Hope they were helpful. If you have any other questions about riding the Amtrak train, feel free to ask me in the comment box below. This year I've really ramped up my Amtrak travel. Hopefully I'll do a couple more trips for the year's over. So I think I'm decently knowledgeable about the Amtrak train. Also, you can follow me on my social medias, and you can hit me up on there. Anything you have to ask, you can ask me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'll answer. Actually, I answer those quicker because I get the notifications for those actually right on my phone. If you ask me a question on YouTube, I have to log in and see it. So, hit me up on my social medias if you have any questions about Amtrak or any other frugal travel methods. I will be happy to answer them. Anyway, thanks for watching. Talk to you later.